Welcome to It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. What is it? It's everything. Everything you want in life starts with courage.
What up, Kat?
JB.
How was your week?
Yeah, I'm still, that funk that I'm getting out of it. But honestly, I had a meeting with a friend of mine where we've just been coming up with so many things, and I feel excited. I feel like I'm actually getting into 2022 now.
Well, good, because we're like almost through the first quarter.
Wow.
Halfway through the first quarter.
Yes. Yeah. Boy, time just moves by so fast. How have you been? I didn't even ask you how you are. How are you? What's been
Good.
going
I got a
on?
lot of exciting things going on. I'm like super pumped. I've got a big meeting coming up that I can't say anything about, but I'm really like, if it all works out great, I'll like really be pumped about, and I'll share later.
That sounds so exclusive, and as much as you're not social media-y, that sounds so influencer and like, yeah, I've got this great new brand deal that I can't talk about yet, but I'll share with you guys soon. That's exactly what you just did.
I'm such a pro at all of that. I did my first NIL deal with Awatrazi from LSU basketball. She is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I've really enjoyed getting to meet her.
Yeah.
She's from France, and her parents are coming in town for the senior night at LSU, and so we did a deal with her. And
Look at you getting in with all the athletes.
I know, it's so exciting because like I'm not the girl for the Rotary Club or like junior league, but you get me into some college athletes with sports, and I get pretty pumped. That's like, those are my people.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's amazing. Coming from in England, where college football or university football sports in general are not a big thing. Like, what we do is every Wednesday or so, you get a half day. All universities do half days, and you go and play sports. But outside of like rowing, Cambridge rowing that they show in the. Outside of that, college sports are not big at all. And I was so shocked to come. I'll tell you a funny story. The first time I landed here and I went to Walmart and I saw everyone wearing an LSU shirt or jersey, like literally everyone around. I looked around, I said, oh my gosh, this has to be like the smartest, most educated city I've ever been. Like, everyone's been to college, everyone's wearing like, because in England, you do that for
The places you went.
you actually went to. And even then, people don't rep their school that hard. So I was like, wow. And then it wasn't until, I think it must have been my first football game. Believe it or not, I still haven't attended a football game. But it was the first football game that I was here. And I saw all these RVs in the parking lot. They told me about contraflow, where it's that they shut down some of the roads in the city to allow all the cars to get to and from the university. I was like, what kind of madness is this? Only to realize how much like college sports bring in terms of revenue. Those people get paid.
Yes. And now with the new name, image, likeness deal that the NCAA has allowed, the not only the coaches are getting paid, but the student athletes can get paid.
Now, I think that's amazing, because I went to a TED Talk at LSU, and I remember, I forgot her name, who was talking about it, how basically like they use, what's been happening in the past is these kids come and play sports for these colleges, and the colleges make so much money from them. But other than sometimes leaving with an injury if they don't make it to the pros, that's just it. Like, they made so much money from you, even though you may have gotten free education. You didn't make anything else outside of that. It was my understanding.
So the colleges do make a lot of money through their sports program, but you have to think about it like college football, maybe baseball could support itself, but like if you think of the women's sports like soccer, softball, I mean, they're not making enough money to pay for their sport, right?
Yeah.
So like some of the bigger programs have to generate revenue to help pay for the rifle team or the track or maybe cross country team and things like that where people aren't coming to pay to watch them do things. So, I mean, it's not like the university is like getting rich off of it, but after I think they have to pay all the expenses, and plus they've got to put all the money they make into facilities to keep up with everybody else because of recruiting. You've got to have the best facilities. Like the locker room at LSU football is like they just did like a $20 million renovation. It's nicer than some of the NFL.
For you to go and put your sweaty
yes.
stuff in. Mm-hmm. Goodness.
Yeah.
I need someone to invest in me like that. I need someone to invest in me like, but for real, I need to make it to like a game or something because I don't know, I just feel like I'm not in that crowd, you know, like.
Well, it's kind of what we're talking about today.
Give me an invite.
Well, first of all, too, I do want to give a shout out to my in-laws. Mm-hmm. They travel a lot, and like when they're on the road, they listen to our podcast. They binge listen to our podcast. So, Don and Agnes, just want to give you a shout out.
Shout out to you.
Thank you for supporting us and listening, and don't hold any of this against me.
And if we're doing shout outs, I have to shout out my friend Raven Davis. Every time we do a podcast, she sends me a voice note review. Oh. Awesome. She sends me a voice note review. So shout out to you guys who are out there. Jack, I was about to list a whole bunch of people, but we'll do that another time.
The credits at the end of the show. Okay, let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just had a client event.
Yeah.
A king cake tasting where, for you guys that don't live in Louisiana, we celebrate Mardi Gras, which is Fat Tuesday.
There's some religion in there somewhere.
Well, Fat Tuesday is the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday. So the thought is like you get all of your partying and stuff out on before Ash Wednesday, and Ash Wednesday in the Catholic Church is Lent. So once you do Lent, it's like 40 days until Easter. And so you're giving something up for Lent, like something that you like, a vice that you have, or fried food or whatever. So like it has become this big South Louisiana or Louisiana tradition of like just becoming this parades and partying and everything all until Ash Wednesday when you have to like be good. And king cakes are a thing. So the rest of the country on January 1st starts their diet. Yeah. And South Louisiana, we start Mardi Gras and king cake
and
season,
showing boobs for beads. That's where it comes from, friends. Showing boobs for beads. So they literally do all the sinning before giving it up for Lent.
Yep. So our king cake. So one of the things that I do for my clients every year is I have a king cake tasting, which like king cakes are all these different bakeries and they have all these different kinds and flavors, and sometimes you want to taste one of those, but you may not want to actually buy a whole king cake. And so I try to go around the city and get different ones that people are really talking about. So I had like 8 different kinds of king cakes at this tasting, and I invite all my clients to come. And the whole point of it is to give back to them, to be able to see people I haven't seen in a long time, hug their neck, see how they're doing, all of that. So
you just say hug their neck?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, hug their neck. I just thought of being strangled.
Oh, no. No, just hug. Give them a hug.
A neck hug.
A neck hug. So my question to you, because you are one of my clients, and you did get invited, and you did tell me you were going to come, but you didn't come. But that's beside the point.
It's the influencer life. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
So what if you would have seen me advertise to these other clients that I was having this party, and you didn't get invited? How would that, like, I mean, we're using this for other, like, for you guys out there, like, we're using this as an analogy for you in your life that, but like, if you saw that I had all these other clients and I had invited them and you didn't get that invite, like, what would be your thought process?
Bitch. No. Beep. My bad. Close your ears, kids. I guess it kind of stings, doesn't it? It kind of stings to be like, well, why didn't I get invited? I think it probably induces some kind of insecurity sometimes because, truth be told, sometimes you don't want to go to these things. Not that I'm saying I didn't want to go to your event. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that we all want to be included. We all want to be part of the party, part of the crew. You want to feel wanted. Yeah.
Right. So even if you never go, right? Like, you still want the invite, right? Like,
the invite matters. Invite me even if I don't come.
right. So even if I say no 5 times in a row,
Or
the
even
one
if I
time,
say yes and flake, which I do a lot. Friends out there, it's love. It's love. I don't mean it.
it doesn't feel like love. But you know, I feel like the invite matters. And I feel like before social media, you could have a group of friends go bowling and never know about it, right? Like, you have a group of 5 people and 3 or 4 of them go bowling. You don't get the invite. There's no social media to post about. And then you never know.
Yeah.
But now, like, you open up social media and you see
Everyone.
parties, dinners, activities of all these people that you like think you're close with, and you're like, man, like, I didn't even get the invite on this. And it's like the word you said before, insecurities, like all the insecurities like
Flooding.
come flooding in, and you start questioning yourself, like, am I not fun?
Yeah.
Am I not a good friend? Like, do I smell? Like, do I have bad breath? Like, what is it that, like, they wouldn't have invited me? So, like, that's what we're kind of talking about today is, like, what can we do to help us kind of
Get over it. Not get over it.
just not even feel it, like,
Not to care.
not to care.
Why do I think it's understanding though, why do we care? Because like you said, it's the fact that you see it maybe posted on social media and you're like, I wasn't there. People who know us as friends know that I wasn't there. Do you think you would care so much if they didn't post it, so you didn't see it, but you heard about it a month later? So someone's like, oh yeah, like 2 weeks ago we went bowling. You may be there in that same friend group, and they're like, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago, remember we went bowling? And then you're like, I think most of us wouldn't ask why wasn't I invited, but I don't know, does it hurt as much when you don't see it, or is it the fact that you see it that actually hurts? Because
I think it hurts both ways. To me, I would feel insecure both ways. If I saw it or if I heard about it.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, your friends got together without you.
Yeah. And I
think the reason that we do that is because we kind of feel like in your friend group, everybody kind of brings something to the table, right? Like, there's a value of each friend. Like, when I talk to Bailey, like, there's the funny one, there's the smart one, there's the goofy one, there's the crazy one. Like, they all bring an aspect to the group that makes the group, right? So, does it make you feel like what you bring to the group is not as important, or
it's not as fun, maybe? Well, I think it also depends on the group, the friendship group. Going back to, remember once upon a time you talked about your tribe, right? Like, you have a tribe, you may have different tribes for different things. And I think it depends on how close you hold this friendship group. Yeah. Because sometimes they're friendly acquaintances, I would call them, where sometimes it's nice to be invited, but if they also didn't invite me, I really wouldn't care. Yeah. Because it's like, I wouldn't have gone anyway. I didn't mean I just meant I wouldn't have gone anyway. Right? And then there are those people that you hold close, that you feel like you should be involved in every single thing that they do or anything that's planned.
That's right.
And if you're not, then I would definitely take it personal at that stage. But I would say for me, like, most of my friends who I would say my friends' don't live close to me, that I would be planning dinners with them, or I would planning, who are your friends that you've had for 10, 15 years plus. I feel that though, the older I've become, because I'm not surrounded by my day ones, as you would call them, I don't care too much what people do and whether they invite me or not.
Right. And so I think like for all of that talking about your tribe, right? I think that's a good way to kind of identify our tribe, right? Because sometimes you just have a lot of different friends, groups. We've talked about like you have groups that do this or that or whatever. You have all these different sections of your life, and everybody talks about like your tribe, your tribe, your tribe. And so I think that's kind of an easy way to kind of discern who is really in your tribe.
And is it worth
And
being?
that's right. And who is not.
Yes.
And so like you're kind of making a boundary of like, this is my tribe. Like I don't care that I didn't get invited bowling over here, or I didn't get invited to the king cake tasting because I already had plans with
So and so.
these people that are really in my tribe. And so that insecurity that we feel like when people that we know that we are friends with that maybe we don't get invited to, we just have to like be okay with that is not your tribe.
And I think I just thought about something that it also helps you value your real tribe. Thinking fitness wise, let's say certain trainers, female trainers that are just like amazing. They're the loved ones. These are the ones who I know starting my journey, I've always looked up at to be like, oh my gosh, like I follow this person, what it would mean for them to follow me back or to like something of mine and to, and over time as my platform has grown, I suppose I felt like I've never been invited into this certain club of women who I also really look up to, admire what they're doing. And at times I think I have sat there and I've just thought, but why? Like, why not me? Why do I not fit in? Is it because I don't make extra effort to look extra pretty when I work out? Because to be honest with you, I'm just a sweaty mess. But is it because I'm not like that? And then it had me thinking, do I want to change myself to wear the booty shorts when I'm working out and my butt is in the picture in the entire shot? And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Do I want to wear makeup? Do I want to have my hair done every time? And I've realized for me, no, I don't want to, because that wasn't what I set out to do, to be. So I haven't had this invite into this group, or haven't, and maybe they just haven't even noticed me. There's also that. I haven't felt welcomed in there. We end up taking things so personal, overthinking situations on why you didn't get invited, and sometimes people aren't even thinking about you like that. Like,
Right.
we become so self-absorbed in why don't you see me, instead of seeing that, do you actually want to be seen by those people? If you did get the invite, do you want that pressure to, if it's a party, some sort of party that you may have never attended, do you want that pressure to go and find that dress, to go and find that? Do you really want it? Or is it a time for you to look and be like, oh, okay, maybe I actually don't fit in here. It's actually not my place. I already have these wonderful friends who I love and get along with. And maybe that's where I should really be focusing my time on. And for me, I've seen that. I love the community that I have on social media.
Yeah.
That's what I want to nurture. I don't want to nurture what I came on social media not to do,
Yeah. 100%.
you know?
So hopefully this helps you guys. I feel like this is something
To
that,
accept not getting the invite.
yeah. Sometimes not getting the invite doesn't mean that like you're not wanted. It just means that's not really your tribe,
Yes.
and it's okay not to get the invite. So,
It may hurt, but yeah, it's okay. Like, do you really want the invite?
no.
Well, I won't invite you next time, Jen.
Well, I mean, you never come anyway, so I
No,
would
I
just.
do. That's a lie.
Till next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to this episode of It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. If you like this episode of the podcast, visit our website, iswcpodcast.com, for show notes and other cool things.